Ingalls has been through some changes over the last few years. We were part of Northrop Grumman, a major corporation, for about 10 years down on the Gulf Coast, and now we are an independent company, Huntington Ingalls Industry. We're listed on the stock exchange, and we are independent now. Somebody asked me, I was with Newport News Shipbuilding. We were an independent company. We were bought by Northrop Grumman. Great company, large defense contractor, $30 billion. And so somebody asked me what it was like when you're an independent company to get bought by a major defense contractor. I said it was like moving back in with my folks. So when we spun off and became an independent company again, somebody asked me what that's like, and I said it's like getting my own apartment. And so we are independent. We have shareholders now who ask for performance every quarter. We have a Navy and Coast Guard customer that is asking us to build more affordable ships every day. The market is very, very dynamic. You can imagine the churn that we're subjected to with all of the machinations that are going on up in D.C. right now. What I would tell you, what I saw come out of Congress is a very strong statement that this nation needs to maintain forward presence around the world, maintain a strong Navy and Coast Guard. So we are encouraged by the statement that Congress is making by funding programs, not necessarily when we would like, not necessarily as fully as we would like, but certainly a statement that they are going to maintain a strong commitment to the sea services. So we are encouraged by that. As we talked about 75 years, we're celebrating our 75th anniversary. We will have some kind of an event this year that will be very cost effective to celebrate our birthday. Our challenge is providing for the next 75 years. We've built over 40% of the U.S. Navy combatant force. We have a long history of building great ships down on the Gulf Coast. I tell people a lot that there is not very much acknowledgement or awareness that I've got Pascagoula High School, Gaucher High School graduates building some of the most sophisticated warships the world's ever seen. And we do an outstanding job of it, and we do it here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And sometimes we don't get enough points for that. The corporation does about $6.7 billion worth of business. I do about half that down here on the Gulf Coast. Newport News Shipbuilding, that builds nuclear submarines and nuclear aircraft carriers in Virginia, does the other three. Total now, we're just under 40,000. Matt Mulheron, who runs Newport News Shipbuilding, is staffing up. He will probably add about another 3,000 or 4,000 folks this year. So he's growing. We will add about 2,500 folks this year. We build nuclear aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines up north, and we build everything else down south. We are the most capable shipyard in the nation down on the Gulf Coast in Pascagoula because we can build more classes of ships than anybody else in the country can. We also build, everybody thinks of us as a Navy shipbuilder. We also build ships for the United States Coast Guard. Coast Guard has a phenomenal responsibility, not just here in the coastal waters, but have also been involved in many of our expeditionary exercises around the world. And their fleet is old. They're operating ships that are over 40 years old. And we are working on their capital reinvestment program to replace a lot of these old ships with our national security cutter. Down south in Pascagoula, we have about 15,000 employees right now, and as I said, we are hiring. We'll talk a little bit about that further in the presentation. The risk that we have right now, we're trying to preserve our core engineering capability with new shipbuilding programs being moved out to the right, building things that we have built before. Maintaining that core competency in our engineering staff is very important to us, and we are working with the Navy about new ship classes and modifications to existing ship classes that will allow us to maintain that capability. Our primary large product line is amphibious assault ships. We carry 800 Marines around the world wherever they need to be. And we are currently building ships. We're up in Norfolk, Virginia, at the largest Navy base in the world, and did the commissioning of LPD-24 Arlington. We were honored to build the USS New York, the USS Arlington, and we are going to be delivering the USS Somerset here toward the end of the year. 3 commemorative ships that recognize the sacrifice of the victims and the heroes of 9/11. My portfolio, the portfolio we managed from Pascagoula, we have working on the left to right, we have a small shipyard out in California that does fleet maintenance, about 500 folks, and they fix ships. We have decided, if you turn the clock back 30 years, we were going to have a 600-ship fleet. When John Lehman was Secretary of the Navy, we were going to have a 600-ship fleet. There were 6 major shipyards in the United States that were going to build that 600-ship fleet. We will have a 300-ship fleet in the future. The same 6 shipbuilders were in business building that fleet. We made a very difficult decision, strictly based on economics, that we could not maintain the capacity that we had 5 years ago, and we decided to close the shipyard in Louisiana. And we are moving all of that work to Pascagoula. We have the footprint. We have about 800 acres now that we use to build ships. We have 120 acres on the east bank of the Pascagoula River if we need to expand. And we are able to reduce our cost to our customer because we're not carrying excess capacity. At the same time, 4,500 great shipbuilders are out of work in Louisiana. We will maintain a 300-ship fleet. We are going to do it as cost-effectively as we can, and we are prepared to make hard decisions in order to be able to do that and be around for another 75 years. We build composite structures in Gulfport, Mississippi. Of course, we're talking about Pascagoula. We'll talk a little bit more about it. We also are responsible for an operation called AMSEC, which also travels all over the world and fixes ships for the United States Navy. They're headquartered out of Virginia Beach, up in Virginia. The types of ships we build: the LPD-17 class, amphibious assault ship, LHAs. These ships are what the Marines travel on around the world that brings them the air support that they need should they have to go to the beach. We build destroyers, DDG-51s. We're building deck houses and hangars for the DDG-1000 program, which is going to be truncated and stopped after 3 ships. We are expecting the Navy to make an announcement here about a 10-ship buy of more DDG-51s sometime over the next 60 days. That's the ship up in the top left of the view graph. And we build Coast Guard cutters. The operation in San Diego, for any of you who have been out San Diego, driven over the Coronado Bridge, we're right underneath the Coronado Bridge. And we do support work all over the world, as I mentioned. We have people in Kuwait, we have people in Yokosuka, we have people all over helping the Navy keep their ships running. So let's talk about Mississippi. All the way back to 1938, there has been a partnership between the state and the shipyard. Support with financing, workforce development, any number of financing mechanisms that have been used by the state to allow the shipyard to capitalize when it needed to, recapitalize after events like Katrina. But the partnership between the state, economic development, legislative initiatives has been very, very close. And we are now also a resident out on Singing River Island, and we do maintain, we have a lease out there, and we also maintain activities out on the island. We have invested in the shipyard over the years, $156 million for new facilities back in 2003, and also the workforce development investments that the state's making, and we'll talk again a little bit more about that in just a minute. Obviously, in 2005, shipyard suffered a major blow. There was an investment of about $1 billion in Ingalls, combination of state, corporate, other kinds of financing to rebuild the shipyard. As I said, that would not have been easy to do without the support from the state. Recapitalizing a shipyard, cranes, rolling stock, any number of things that we had to do in order to get back up and running and maintain our delivery schedules, workforce, getting back in place so that it was not an excuse to do something different in Pascagoula. Was the reinforcement we got from the state and the support from the state was critically important, not only to maintain the commitment we had to our employees, but also to reinforce to the Navy and the Coast Guard that we could get through these kinds of events. We weld, we fit, we pull cable, and we do hurricanes. You cannot imagine how many questions we get about are we good at it? And I can tell you, we are good at it. We learned a lot of lessons out of what happened in 2005. We have an operations manual that talks about what do we do when we go to alert status? What do we do when that hurricane is 3 weeks away from us? The critical lesson learned after Katrina for us was, what is the most important thing we have to do? We have to get the workforce back to work. Paychecks have to be going. Material's got to be in the right place so that when we put it away, we know what has to come out first. Rolling stock's got to be out of the shipyard. All the rolling stock was destroyed during the storm back in 2005. You will see a procession of rolling stock going out of the shipyard, up onto the berm. Last hurricane events we had almost no damage, and most proudly, we had no injuries. We do hurricanes. We spend about $42 million a year in investments on our facilities. We buy cranes, we repair cranes, we build buildings, we do lots of things. We will spend $58 million in 2013. This is what we are hoping our workforce plan is out through 2020. I would tell you right now, a lot of this has to do with what's going on up in Congress right now for the 2016, 17, and 18 timeframe. I just came from Washington. We're out there and we're in the fight. And we're out there fighting for programs that we believe are good programs for the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Coast Guard. And as I said, we're getting quite a bit of reinforcement from our congressional representatives. Our concern is not so much whether or not we're going to build this fleet. Our concern is how does the money get programmed, and can we avoid layoffs in the future that take the investment we've made in building a workforce, send it home, have to bring it back, and retrain it. Our employee population has changed a bit over the years. We're down from 2005 by about 5,000 folks. It is a reflection of the environment we're in, but I would also tell you we have to sell affordable ships. We have to represent the taxpayers' investment appropriately. We took 1,000 salaried people out last year, and I sent 4 vice presidents home. We have to reduce cost. We have to be more affordable. It is the way that we're going to defend our business and be here for another 75 years. Where do we live? We live in Jackson, Harrison, George County. We are somewhere in the neighborhood of the 4th or 5th largest employer in the state of Alabama. We bring about 3,000 people in every day from Alabama. What's our payroll look like? $14 million. Pumped into the economy, 15,000 people. What are our demographics? One of the things that we have a very, very serious and deep commitment to is a diverse workforce. It is not only because it is the right thing to do, it is because it is the right business decision to make. We are recruiting all over the country. We bring engineers in from Michigan. We bring welders in from Idaho. When you walk in the door, our objective is to give you every opportunity to get my job. My vice president of workforce development is an apprentice school graduate, a welder. We are all about reaching into the community and getting the best possible talent, and we are committed to a diverse workforce. Our hiring plan, as I said, we're going to be running the craft up, 1,600 folks. We've got about 563 contractors that we will bring in. Reason is, bringing people in for 9 months isn't fair to them. Bring in the contractors, let them do the work, get through the surge. They pass out and go to work somewhere else. We maintain a stable workforce. One of the things that we're facing, and I would tell you it is the most significant challenge we have. I have capital to buy cranes and things. What I don't have is the human capital we need to build ships. If you can't read by the time you're in the 3rd grade, you can't be a shipbuilder. If you can't do basic arithmetic and read a ruler and be able to measure a center line, you can't be a shipbuilder. The most serious challenge we have right now is in 3rd grade. That's where my shipbuilders are coming from 10 years from now. I'm worried. I am very worried. When we give people tests when they come in the door, we would not be very proud of some of the results. We're focusing on, I can tell you right now, you want to be a shipbuilder or you want to be a leisure studies major. You're going to spend 5 years in college. You're going to come out with $55,000 worth of student loan debt, and you probably end up with about $15,000 a year salary. Or you can come to the shipyard, you can be a welder. You probably start out around $26,000. You got an opportunity to go to $50,000. And if we could keep a shipbuilder for 3 years, we probably got him for 40. But if they decide to leave the shipyard, they can be a plumber, they can be an electrician, they can be an HVAC tech. We are a training engine. We are a training engine. I want folks who come in the gate to stay forever. But if they don't, they will probably be knocking on your door to fix your sink or put your AC unit in. And that is a good thing. The investment that the Navy and the Coast Guard make in building ships in Pascagoula helps us fund workforce development in a way that we really do not often acknowledge. We pay a lot of taxes. We spend a lot of money, about just under $500 million, and we do it all over the state. I have a rule. Everybody on my staff has got to be involved in some kind of a community activity. It is our responsibility to make our community a better place for our shipbuilders to live. We have an outstanding amount of talent. It's not all about just making donations. It's about what do you believe in, what do you support, and what are you willing to dedicate your time to? And we are all in. There are many, many organizations in our state that do not have the ability to fund the activities they need to fund. They can't hire the people they need to hire. We have lots of people who want to help. And one of our jobs as a leadership team is to make sure they get up and they get out and they do it. And believe me, we are all over Jackson County, Harrison County. We're doing all we can to make our community a better community. We make a lot of investments. Again, about $375,000. We try to put our money where our mouth is. We are supporters of STEM programs. I would tell you that despite the fact we are taking our workforce down in the salaried ranks and trying to save money, the STEM budget goes up every year. It is an investment in human capital. I can buy cranes from a lot of people. I've got to get a workforce from South Mississippi, and we need to invest in that workforce. And we need to invest in that workforce when they are in 3rd grade. And that's our shipyard.